Amen. I'm speaking from the Old Testament. But that is what I needed to speak with to get this message out. So, I'm going to start with Exodus chapter 2, verses 11 through 15. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. Amen. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. So what that is saying is Moses did something bad. Sometimes we commit sins when we don't think no one is going to learn about them. Amen. If you remember what it said was up at the beginning, Moses saw his fellow Hebrew brothers being beaten. But before he acted, what did he do? He looked around to make sure that no one saw him. So he was, if he thought someone saw him, he wouldn't have done that. But he looked around to try to say, well, if I do this, only I'll know about it. But when we do anything, who else knows about it? God. God knows everything. Amen. But Moses didn't think about God. What he thought about was other people. This brings up something about, if you remember, Joseph and Potiphar's wife. The thing that stands out about Joseph is he said, how can I do this thing, a sin against God? Amen. He was thinking about God, not about what other people would think, but he had his mind in the right place. But Moses thought that if it was secret, then he could do this and get away with it. But as he learned, hey, someone knows about this, so Moses fled. And he fled into the wilderness or the desert. And now I'll go into Genesis 16, verses 1 and 2. And now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go unto my maid, it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened the voice of Sarai. The verse that I don't have up there is the fourth verse of Genesis 16. And it reads, he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. The reason I'm bringing this up is we sometimes, when things aren't going the way that we think they are going to go, and even though we've been told that something's going to happen, we will sometimes try to fix it to where we can understand how it's going to happen. because here you have Abram and Sarai, who are both well-aged. Somewhere around 85 for Abram, and maybe his wife was maybe 75. Let's say 75. So she came up with this idea. Yeah, God has told you that you're going to be the father of many, but here I am, 70-some years old. What can I do to help? What can I do to help? Well, I have this slave here, and because this slave belongs to me, she is essentially mine, and what's mine, it is part of me. So if my husband sleeps with her, it'll be like him sleeping with something that's part of me. So we come up with all these weird ideas to try to justify what we want to try to have happen. Amen. And that's what she did. It's amazing how we think we can help God. And sometimes it will lead us into trouble and also into sin. See, Raya got beside herself. And if you remember the verse that's up there now, and he went unto Hagar, and she conceived. So after she got pregnant, Sarai, she got beside herself. And all Hagar was doing was what she was told to do. She didn't have any say in the situation. Amen. But Sarai, she all of a sudden began to hate this young lady for what she was told to do. And it got so bad that Hagar actually ran away. And after she ran away, an angel came to her and told her two things. One was, you need to return. And the second thing was, the angel gave her the name of her soon-to-be son, which was Ishmael. Amen. And that means God hears. So out of that, something good did happen. She was told to return, and she also got the name that would become beneficial later. Amen. All right, and now we'll go into Sarah having a child. Genesis 21 verses, essentially verses 1 through 19 is what I'm going to go over. And the Lord visited Sarah as he has said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, and set at the set time at which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. Amen. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous to Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, let it be not grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of the bondwoman, in all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. Amen. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder and the child, and sent her away, and she departed and wandered into the wilderness of Beersheba.
Amen.
So to summarize that is, here we have a celebration. They are celebrating Isaac being on breast milk. So, and then you have his half-brother, Ishmael, who is teasing him for some reason. And whenever that happened, there's something about the protection of a mother, or how a mother wants to protect their children. If you see someone picking at your child, you are going to try to stop it at all costs. And that's what she just blew up. Do you know how you can have a sore, and if you don't let that sore heal, it's just going to always be there? If you're always picking at it, sometimes you have to let it be there. Well, when Ishmael was born by Hagar, Abraham was 86 years old. And then when Abraham was 100, he had Isaac. So there Ishmael is 14. And for, let's say it took 2 years to wean someone off. That's what we sometimes do now if you are breastfeeding. But let's say it was 4 years. So here you have this 14 plus, let's say, 4 years. You have this 18-year-old child teasing this 4-year-old child, and Sarah just got beside herself. And if you notice what